live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
Winnebago County police launch a death investigation after a missing woman's body turns up in a wooded area. We'll tell you what investigators hope provides more clues to the case. 2 state-line police departments get funds from Illinois State Police. That money will go towards getting guns off the streets. And this summer's big Mega Millions jackpot winners have finally come forward nearly 2 months after the historic drawing. Find out why they waited so long. Good evening, I'm Eric Wilson. Mimi Murphy is off. A missing Winnebago County woman has been found. Last night, police were called for a body in a wooded area off of Rotary Road. That's just west of Interstate 90, not far from New Milford. After an autopsy, investigators identified her as 33-year-old Ashley Gosnell. She lived on the block where her body was found. Her cause of death hasn't been announced. Police are still looking into this case. In Cherry Valley, police make an arrest after someone's shot in a hotel parking lot. This happened around 11:30 Tuesday night at the Days Inn on South Lyford. Police tell us the victim was inside the hotel. Investigators say the suspected shooter knew the victim. They found that suspect a short time later. Officers made the arrest with the help of a canine after a chase. Police haven't named the suspect. The victim had surgery and is expected to make a full recovery. A woman found dead inside a Rochelle home over the weekend has been identified. Devin Gibbons was discovered Sunday morning inside that home on 7th Avenue. It's not clear how the 28-year-old died. Firefighters were called after a report of smoke coming from the home. Police say Gibbons' death is still under investigation. Loves Park's Fire Department opens a new East Side Fire Station. That new station is on Rock Valley Parkway behind Carlson Ice Arena. It's an existing building that was remodeled to fit the department's needs. The project was paid for with federal American Rescue Plan money. There also will be an ambulance and a Quint truck at that location. Building dedication and open house are scheduled for next Tuesday morning from 9 to 11. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul says the Safety Act may need to see some changes ahead of its January 1st effective date. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the Capitol. Supporters say a flood of misinformation on social media led to a lot of exaggerations on what the bill actually does. Raoul believes the bill gives enough discretion to judges to make sure people who are a threat or commit violent crimes are detained in appropriate cases. He also acknowledges the bill does have some issues.
There hasn't been many laws that we haven't had to amend through the years. That's why the legislature meets from year to year, because we rarely get perfect the first time.
Other top-ranking Democrats, including the bill's sponsors and Governor Pritzker, have hinted action could be taken when lawmakers return to Springfield in November. AG Raoul also wants a rehearing after the Illinois Commerce Commission ordered ComEd to refund customers $38 million. The Citizens Utility Board is joining the call, claiming ComEd used, quote, accounting tricks when the utility firm paid a $200 million fine tied to a federal court case involving a scandal. And that resulted in ComEd collecting an extra $7 million from customers. If approved, customers would receive an extra $5 in refunds. ComEd disagrees, saying it met its obligations with the Commerce Commission. The November election is just weeks away in Illinois. The race everyone's watching is for governor. State Senator Darren Bailey's challenging Democrat and current Governor J.B. Pritzker. In October, we'll bring you 2 debates between those candidates. Those will take place on October 6th and 18th. In addition to taking questions from a panel, the candidates will respond to questions from Illinois voters. We'd like to hear about the issues important to you. If you could pose a question to those candidates for governor, what would you ask? You can share your question on mystateline.com. If picked, it could be featured during the live debate broadcast October 6th. 2 state-line law enforcement agencies are getting grants from state police. The Rockton Police Department and South Beloit Police Department are part of 32 groups sharing $1 million. The money will go towards keeping guns out of the hands of those who pose a significant threat to themselves or others. Grants will help pay for officers to conduct enforcement details now through the end of the grant period. A statewide manufacturing tour makes a stop in the state line. Manufacturing Matters was held at Northern Illinois University's Rockford campus. The Illinois Manufacturers Association tour focuses on visiting factories, educational institutions, and economic development centers. Manufacturing is particularly important in the Rockford area. In Winnebago County, a study found the industry creates more than $11 billion in economic output each year. That adds up to almost 34% of the county's economy. The IMA wants to show manufacturing in a different light.
I think one of the perceptions that we have in manufacturing, too many people think of manufacturing as dark, dirty, and dangerous, and it's not. Manufacturing today is diverse and automated and clean and sustainable. So we have to do a better job of sharing the manufacturing message with students and teachers and parents and counselors to educate them about what manufacturing really means to the state of Illinois, and particularly the Rockford area.
More than 40,000 jobs are supported thanks to manufacturing in Winnebago County. Rockford's Hard Rock Casino says it's ready to break ground on a permanent home. An official groundbreaking ceremony will take place next Wednesday. It will be an invite-only event. Hard Rock executives will be joined by local elected officials, business and community leaders. Cheap Trick guitarist and Rockford native Rick Nielsen will also be there. To learn more about the ceremony and the Rockford Casino, check out this story at mystateline.com. Last 2 years of COVID have been especially hard for those in the healthcare industry. UW Health held a little something special for its employees. Our Nikel Delgado was there at the event. Nikel, how'd it go?
That's right, Eric, and it was a perfect day for a picnic as UW Health Swedish American Hospital honored and celebrated their frontline workers for all of their dedication during the pandemic.
Getting out here to be with the staff and just having fun and just really living it up today. That's what we're doing.
Director of Care Management Anna Taylor says the past 2 years have been hard in the health industry. COVID made all of their jobs more stressful, which is why they wanted to make sure their employees know they're valued.
Just to be able to say thank you to those frontline people, because it's not just the nurses, right? You know, it's the EVS workers, it's the respiratory therapists, it's the techs, it's everybody working together to get through this, to care for the community.
The Employee Appreciation Picnic had everyone working together.
But our own staff cooked the meal, our leadership served the meal, and other volunteers, and it was just an opportunity to say thankful for everybody on the front line. And so the vibe is amazing, and I feel like I'm getting to know people again.
President and CEO of UW Health, Travis Anderson, says not only is this a way to give thanks, but it gives the staff a chance to get to know each other again and build healthy work relationships.
We're 3,700 strong that are here all day, all night, all weekend, through years of COVID, through years of change.
Both Travis and Anna believe the state line is finally able to move on from COVID and get back to normal.
Now that we're able to move on to this phase, we can do it with a new gusto and we can prevail. And this is day one of that.
UW Health CEO says this is just the start of showing their appreciation to their staff, along with many more community events to come. Eric?
Thanks, Nikel. The winner of the U.S.'s third largest lottery jackpot finally claims the prize here in Illinois. 2 people wishing to remain anonymous have stepped forward to collect their $1.3 billion Mega Millions jackpot. They hit the lucky numbers back on July 29th. They bought the ticket at a speedway in Des Plaines and agreed to split the money if they won. The 2 used the past few weeks to work with legal and financial advisors to navigate through the process. They decided to take the lump sum payment of slightly more than $780 million. Student loan relief is coming. Now we're getting a better idea of how many people will benefit. We've told you more than 40 million borrowers across the country are eligible. The White House released data this week on who in Illinois will get relief. Theodora Coulivaris breaks down the numbers from Springfield.
Madison Shaw has about $13,000 in student loans.
I did have to take a couple grand out just because it was my first year of college and college isn't free.
It's why she's looking forward to the student loan relief coming from the White House.
It would be a financial burden taken off from my family, not having to worry about paying all that money back after I graduate.
Nearly 1.5 million borrowers like her in the state will get $10,000 canceled. More than 863,000 people in the state could get $20,000 in relief since they were Pell Grant recipients.
The cost of living is going a lot higher, so I think it's a good opportunity to be able to help a lot of working families to be able to save a lot of money.
In early October, the White House will release an application for people to fill out. They are encouraging every borrower to do it, whether the Education Department has your income information or not. After applying, you will have to wait 4 to 6 weeks before you get relief. Another piece of good news, once that relief comes, Illinois borrowers will not be taxed on it. A spokesperson for the Department of Revenue said in a statement, quote, "Under terms of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, an exclusion was added exempting student loan forgiveness from federal income tax returns. Therefore, Illinois residents who receive loan forgiveness will not be required to report that income on their Illinois taxes." Reporting in Springfield, I'm Theodora Koulivaris.
Education encourages borrowers to apply for relief before November 15th, since the pause on student loan repayments ends December 31st.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, temperatures this afternoon still were warm. We made it into the upper 70s and low 80s, but the numbers now cooling off quite a bit. And even though we were warm today, we were quite a bit cooler and less humid than where we were yesterday. That temperature change in a couple of spots, 20 to even 25 degrees cooler as numbers west and southwest of us yesterday were still in the 90s. We're at 71. Our weather watcher Jim here in Rockford checking in. No rainfall today. Dew point temperature much more comfortable, sits at 55. 70 right now in Rockford, 68 in Freeport, 67 in Poplar Grove, 72 right now in Rochelle, Dixon, and 73 in Sterling. We still have that breeze, something that'll continue as we go through the remainder of this evening. So winds, we don't really see them lighten up too much here through the night tonight or into tomorrow morning. We take a live look with our SkyTrack camera out at the Poplar Grove Airport. Still dealing with a fair amount of cloud cover out there this evening. Our skies, they will stay cloudy here through this evening, but we'll see that cloud cover kind of work its way out during the overnight tonight. That will allow our temperature to drop down into the upper 40s in a couple of spots. The clouds, the result of some showers that have been forming along that front down to the south of us. Not expecting any of this to work in, maybe a sprinkle or two across our southern areas, but that should pretty much be it. We stay quiet but breezy, cool here. Temperature tonight in Rockford down around 49 degrees. Notice we still maintain that wind from the north and northwest, 5 to 10, 5 to 15 miles per hour. We're up to 63. That's it for tomorrow. So the official start of fall, a little after 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, is when fall officially begins. And we definitely have the weather to kind of go along with that. The 60-degree temperatures, they will continue going through Friday and then returning again into next week. Now, we're not talking about freezing numbers, but they're not that far behind where temperatures fall through the 30s and upper 20s. On average, our first fall freeze, that 32-degree temperature usually comes within the first week and a half of October. First fall hard freeze, that's when the temperature drops down to 28 degrees or colder, also known as a killing freeze. That usually occurs towards the middle of the month, with the earliest September 30th. We've had that latest November 17th. No freezing temperatures for us tonight, but it does get chilly, so you'll need the jacket tomorrow, especially when we factor in some of that wind. Winds will be very similar like they were today for tomorrow, 20, 25 miles per hour. We see some sunshine. I think we get a couple of clouds moving in for the afternoon. A few clouds work in as we head towards Thursday night. I know this shows upper 30s. I think we stopped that number in the low 40s for Friday morning because of some of that cloud cover. But as clouds increase during the day, it doesn't allow that temperature to warm up much for the afternoon, so we're likely to stay in the low 60s. Spotty shower or two possible late afternoon and then into Friday evening, so keep that in mind for some of those Friday night football games, and some of those showers could carry over into Saturday, but right now it does not look like it is going to be much. Winds through tomorrow, notice still gusting at around 20 miles per hour. We'll see those winds pick up just a little bit during the afternoon. They do calm though as high pressure, or at least come close to it, moves in by Friday morning, so it will be a cooler start. You just won't have a lot of wind. Wind then shifts around to the south Friday afternoon, kind of picks back up. We've actually got a couple of windy days coming up that'll take us into the weekend, but definitely feeling like fall. Right now, the only temperature I have on our 7-day that'll be a little bit above above that average is on Saturday when we make it back into the low 70s. Notice those numbers, they will continue to trend down. As I mentioned, we've got a shower or two Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and then we could see that continue into Sunday. Keeping an eye on next week, though. If we have high pressure build in, that'll really drop those numbers next week. However, that high pressure system might not be as strong and could actually be pushed a little further away. Kind of depends on what happens, Eric, down in the tropics next week in the Gulf with some tropical development. So next week's temperatures could go up or they could go down.
Now sports with Reagan Holgate.
Just when we thought there was a glimmer of hope for the White Sox to stay in contention, they lose the first of this set with the Guardians, when what they really needed was a sweep. Now they are 5 games back of the AL Central leaders, and time is running out. Game 2 is on tap, but can they rebound after last night's debacle? The Sox were up by 2 heading into the 7th, then after blowing their lead, came back from a 5-3 deficit to tie in the bottom of the 10th. But in the truest of White Sox fashion, they give up 5 in the top of the 11th and lose 10-7. Acting manager Miguel Cairo took full blame for last night's performance. He wouldn't give specifics, but said multiple times that he felt the loss was on him.
I think I made a few moves that should have made. I think it's on me. Today was on me. Our players fight. They fought hard, and our pitchers, and today was on me.
It was definitely not all on Cairo. Defensive mishaps have plagued the White Sox all season long, and last night we watched the same story unfold. It will be Lance Lynn to get the start on the mound tonight. Game 2 of the series starts at 7:10. The Cubs are also in action tonight. Things just got started in Miami for Game 3. Still no score. The Blackhawks officially open training camp tomorrow. Luke Richardson met with media today ahead of his first camp as head coach to discuss what he's looking for in building this year's team, but more specifically what he wants to see from his veteran guys.
They look like they've come in and prepared and are ready and have smiles on their faces, and they're not walking around grumpy and unhappy, and but they're competitive, and you can understand that they want to be competitive and win, and that's what we want. So we express that we understand that, and we like that, because that's going to be the feeling around the dressing room. We want the young players to learn off them and learn how to be competitive and win in this league.
And speaking of one of those vetted guys, take a look at this. Patrick Kane reported for training camp today to start his 16th season with the Blackhawks. To mark the occasion, here he is with his chalkboard bio, giving a shout out to his son Patty and writing that he wants to be a good dad when he grows up. And to think he's 33 years old and has spent nearly half his life with this organization. Just crazy. In some sad news, though, a former Guilford coaching legend has died. Longtime boys swim coach Don May passed away recently at his current home in New Mexico. This is video of May from 2015 when he was inducted into the RPS 205 Athletic Hall of Fame. He started teaching at Rockford West High School in 1959, where he first coached boys swimming. He moved to Guilford in 1965. His Guilford teams had 14 top finishes at state. May also coached 4 individual state champions and 2 relay state champions. His teams won 31 conference championships in 35 years. For information on the funeral and visitation, look for this story at mystateline.com.
Post-morning interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More. Will stay pretty quiet for us tonight. We've got cloud cover out there, something that'll stick around through this evening, but we will see our skies clear as we go through the overnight tonight, down to about 49. So a cooler start tomorrow, lower 60s Thursday, Friday. We've got a couple of showers by Friday evening.
Thanks, Candace, and thank you for spending some of your time with us. Stay safe.